back with another video of the Civilization Restart series. Let's get started. So today we'll actually be starting in Americas, where the zone is built, and since the entirety of the Southern American continent is mostly getting colonized around the coastline, and no one really wants to go inward because one, strong tribes, two, Amazon. It's decided that so the other countries that haven't colonized can get at least something from within here, and also to preserve nature and the tribes inside of the um, continent, and to connect them with the rest of the world a little bit, I guess. The red team and blue team and the Kievan Rus and the Qing and the Persians all come together, and the British all come together with Grand Colombia, and they basically say, so we're gonna make this zone right here, from the British territory to the Grand Colombian territory, and it's going to be managed by you. However, your laws do not apply, and if you do some bad stuff in there, then it's going to get turned over to the British. However, it's under your possession to defend, but it's under the mandated law of the British, so it's under the law of the British, and the citizens are citizens of they're recognized as tribals. So it's like if a native was to go from the no man's land to a random land. So yeah, it's basically an elevated no man's land, and no one's allowed to colonize it, and its defense is the responsibility of Grand Colombia. In turn, Grand Colombia is paid approximately $1 trillion, $1.3 trillion from each nation that's a part of this treaty. The Grand Colombian GDP right now is actually 4 trillion. So that's not that bad. I mean, it's like straight middle. The richest is the red team, obviously, with a whopping 86 trillion. And the blue team, followed by the blue team, at a whopping 64 trillion. Then it's followed by the British, actually no, the Qing, at 54 trillion, and then the British at 46, the Kievan Rus at 45.3 trillions, and then we smack down by a lot to Persia at only 23 trillion, and then the rest follows. The poorest country is the Byzantine at 836 billion. The world is rich. The collective GDP is already over 100 trillion. Either way, so they're kind of in the smackdown 4 trillion, but they're going to put that money. Now, that money isn't actually for defense. That money is just a payment and like a show of gratitude to Grand Colombia for agreeing to the defense. And so, Grand Colombia goes ahead, and they now have this thingamabob. And basically, now this money, any country can pull out of it. Turn off for that is Grand Colombia in turn just threatens to completely annex the state, which isn't the best. So with Grand Colombia now assuming complete control of that new state, we have a couple of rules being set down. Grand Colombia is allowed to just completely restrict trade into this. So yeah, that's the only rule from Grand Colombia. Now we're going to take a look at the first war of the video, which is between the Nigerians and the Gold Coast. So, Nigerian troops have wanted the Gold Coast for several months and years now, mostly because it's the Gold Coast, because it has a lot of gold on it. It's actually the richest country that's economy was built up from natural resources. It's at a whopping 16 trillion. It's by far the richest in Africa, or by far the richest completely in Africa. And with this, the Nigerians kind of want that good resources, or not Nigeria. What are they? The Lagos Republic, basically Nigeria, except less populated and less rich. But with that, let's take a look at the war. All right, so in this war, the first wave of assault gets there, and then stalemate. But then the Ivory Coast starts extracting, or not the Ivory Coast, Gold Coast starts extracting resources from its coast. Or not from its coast. What am I saying? From its colony. And a lot of shipmen, like people on ships, are brought over to fight leading to a huge front being started over here. And now the Nigerians basically have to fight a two-front war, because at this point the colony is just a separate nation in terms of military, which leads to a huge pushback. Or not the Nigerians, I mean the Lagos Republic. Every time I say Nigeria, I mean Lagos Republic, because they're very similarly placed, and Lagos is actually a country in Nigeria. I know I pronounced that wrong. I'm I refuse to correct my pronunciation because I find it funny that my pronunciation is wrong, mostly because everyone I know from Nigeria yells at me every time I pronounce it wrong, so it's funny. Anyways, where is Lagos? Lagos is like over here, right? Like, you know what? No, I'm gonna pronounce it right. Today, I will pronounce it right just for this episode. Lagos, something like that. I don't know. Either way, I'm pretty sure it's over here somewhere. If this was actual Nigeria borders, it would make it much easier. Uh, in this timeline, however, Lagos is actually over here, which I'm pretty sure is where it actually is in real life as well. Either way, this is captured, and yeah, not looking too good for Nigeria. It's crazy what money can do when it comes to a war. Like, the Gold Coast has one of the worst militaries, but they're just able to withstand the attack because of their money and leverage. Eventually, the red team enters in the war and through the no man's land, pushes troops and begins their own invasion into Nigeria. Now, this invasion is actually to help the separatist group, like over here, as the red team finds that a separatist group ally a new nation that's over there, and ally would be a good way to balance out Abyssinia, Nigeria, Libya, and the African Union all at once. And the African Union would feel a lot more enclosed, considering there's a red team colony right there as well. Either way, the Nigerians could not care less about this land, as it's mostly desert. So they pull out completely from that front and move the bunkers and or not bunkers. At this point in time, it's just trenches, except not even those actually defendable trenches. It's legit holes in the ground. No barricade, no nothing. All there is to help support them is just like men and women that are in war. That's the only thing stopping an enemy from just going through the trenches. Either way, they move the trench line back there and then hold out. But a pull of troops does mean that a push from the Gold Coast is happens. And with this, we have the fall of Nigeria, for the most part. Or not Nigeria, Lagos Republic. But then the Sahara Republic actually joins in, and they push with the goal to capture as much of the Sahara as possible, but also to get a coastline, which their only way of doing that now is to just hope that Nigeria is able, or the Lagos Republic is able to push back the Ivory Coast, at least on the Gold Coast, at least on their coastline, just so the Sahara Republic can get it. However, the Gold Coast makes a huge campaign and tightens the control of their soldiers on the coast even more. With this, we have Ethiopia kind of Abyssinia kind of wanting to join in if something opens up here, and that is where they really think it's going to open up. So they put a lot of troops over there, ready to blitzkrieg through in case that opens up. And Nigeria wants as less, or the Lagos Republic wants as less amount of people destroying them as possible. So in case of war reparations, they only have to pay to a few teams. And so they're gonna just leave that land and let it go to the red team. Whether the Ivory Coast pulls out, and they're basically like, "Our peace treaty, we got what we wanted," and the Sahara Republic doesn't really agree to that. So I'm back. Okay, so with this, the rest of the country looks like it's gonna go to the Saharan Republic because the Lagos, they have one main way to deal with this. They want a weak country to take over the rest of the country, so that when the peace treaty happens, they can easily, after a year or two of waiting, go for a revolution and take out that weak nation and reform their own country. However, it doesn't look like the red team's letting this happen, as they are very quickly able to take over an even larger amount of land. The Ivory Coast refusing to go further, or the Gold Coast refusing to go further and just hold out now so they can get their land, and the land that's actually useful, does absolutely nothing. However, the Sahara Republic falls into Lagos Republic's trap, and it pushes deeper. With this, Sahara Republic actually makes the stupidest move of all time, declares war on the the Gold Coast. With this, it's pushed back almost immediately, and a huge amount of troops go through. They cut off the Sahara Republic's control to the front line and the supply lines they had, leading to their entire front falling apart. And the red team actually takes over a large majority of their front, with the rest completely collapsing. And the Lagos Republic now realizes that there's absolutely no way that their strategy is going to work anymore, because the Sahara Republic isn't going to come back from this for at least a century, considering their current political and economic situation. Meanwhile, the Umayyad, or yeah, is this the Umayyad Caliphate or the Umayyad Republic? I think that's the Achaemenid. Yeah, so this is the Umayyads. Either way, we're gonna call them Florida Man because they are the ones who colonized Florida. Either way, they are the African equivalent of Florida Man. This is how we found Florida Man. It was colonized by the Umayyads. That's why. I'm kidding. That didn't actually happen in real life. I'm pretty sure in real life the Umayyads were in the Middle East. So yeah. Either way, looking to reclaim what was once theirs, they also declare war on the Sahara and go there until the Gold Coast cuts them off, with the goal of maintaining the rest of the Sahara as a counterbalance to the Algerian rebels, or the guys who 200 pumped the red team, and Libya. Why? Because they don't really want to share a border with the Algerian rebels, considering what happened on the red team, and the red team got 200 pumped. With this, we have a peace treaty occurring on all fronts. So let me drop this. Okay, so in the peace treaty, we actually don't have the coast of Nigeria or the I was gonna say Los Angeles. I don't know why. Lagos. We actually don't have Lagos Republic's coast completely gone. There's still a little bit. I mean, in case of war, this is gonna be the next thing the Gold Coast earns. Um, Sahara Republic got a little bit screwed over from the peace treaty. The Umayyads took a bunch, and then obviously the Gold Coast took a bunch. The Red Team put its puppet state there, which now the Red Team people in near Carthage and Egypt land and Libyan land are a little bit annoyed because most of our people just lost a lot of their soldiers from this region just lost their lives in Nigeria for not even the betterment of land and economic wise, not even the betterment of their own nation, just for the birth of a new one. So they're a little bit mad. However, this is a 40 chess move because now Abyssinia is forced into becoming a red team ally, since soon enough red team basically predicted this is going to happen, just like the blue team and the rest of the world. Soon enough the purple team is going to crumble and go into a state where it's easily like capturable. Remember, the purple team started over here. They legit moved up, kind of like the Crimean Republic. They started in Crimea, legit got moved to Poland out here. What's another good example of this? Let's um uh yeah, there is no other good example of this. I know the Sino Republic isn't here anymore. This started off in Korea. They got moved to Japan and then destroyed by the Nagasaki Republic. Over here, South Asia. Actually, they're not gone from where they started. Either way, yeah. So with this, the Germanics. They started over here in Poland. They got moved to Germany. With this, we have. I think we're gonna have to end this video a little bit fast. I don't know, but this line is compromised. Uh, Western Sahara is dead. Actually, Western Sahara at this point is looking to just straight up join Algeria as as a province. It's gonna be Algerian rebel biggest province. However, still a province. Yeah, demoted from a country to a province, like Germany, demoted from a country to a city. When I was first making the name of the Germanic Republic, it's derived from Germany. Remember, they used to be the Pol. They used to be Polia, but they no longer have any land in Poland, so they had to change their name. Anyway, we also look at the birth crisis of the red team, in which with the king not having a child, a lot of population actually follows this as a lifestyle decision. Also, not having a child, the population, which was usually just going like that. Had a little few ups and downs. Major dip right there, and now this part's a projection. Uh, everything that way of the line is a projection of what's gonna happen. So yeah, quite the big dip there. That whole thing is from the Civil War, where the only city the the red team had left was their capital, and everyone else was at war with them as well. That was a huge dip in population, and you can see they actually barely even recovered from that. But then it was another dip because of a major war, another dip because of a major war. They hit their peak over here. Then there was the civil war between the two brothers civil war. Then they slowly recovered from that, and then the lifestyle choice crisis, which is now projected to kill the nation's population entirely. Japan, but worse in terms of population. So, to balance this out, the older brother, or the current king of the red team, finally has a child. He names his son Marcimus Excellus III, and he deports him to Italy. Why? Well, he gives his son a whole kingdom in Italy, carving out for his son and his wife a sort of subdivision province, basically like Carthage, over in Italy, and it's meant to be a generational thing. Basically, if the king dies, then the Italian province is given to the prince's son, or right now the son of the king, and keeps going like that. Uh, People of Italy don't really care. Actually, it's actually like upon the prince's request, it's made even bigger in the north. Why? Because a kid he didn't like from school lived in the north, so now he gets to do whatever he want with that king. I'm gonna try to make this. See, North Korea is a bad nation, but their border in the north is looks in terms of on a geographic map looks nice. So I tried copying that here. Uh, it nuh-uh. This is gonna be hard. Nuh-uh, because that curve is not looking nice. Other than the curve, yeah, I think okay, that looks better. Um, yeah, yeah, there we go. With that, we are going to conclude this video really fast right now. The UN mandated zone is on the verge of being attacked, not by the I don't know why I drew the Grand Colombians like that, by the Aztecs, and tensions around it rise to an all-time high. Status around this is still being debated because the red team really wants it back, and the British really don't want to give it back. The British are also have tense relations with Nunavut and this Hudson Bay thing over here, and then the Kievan Rus and red team tension between these two colonies, neither of whose countries actually care about them. Like, if we were to do a 1v1, Kievan Rus would care more about this colony than the red team cares about this colony. However, that's not saying much. Neither of these countries care that much about these colonies. One, because they're out of touch. Two, the Kievan Rus just wanted that to like have a foothold, just so that it's like me drinking Prime, just to say I've drank Prime. I don't enjoy Prime's taste. It's loaded with caffeine. I've tried Prime once. It's loaded with caffeine. I don't like it. Either way, yeah, that's the equivalent right here. I can see why people would like Prime. I personally don't enjoy 15 liters of pure caffeine in there. I'm good though. That's just my personal choice. Anyways, so Flipperland. A giant lake forms in Flipperland, and it looks quite like Flipperland. However, the thing with this lake is the country's slowly dissolving because of rising sea temperatures. Yeah, sea temperatures are already rising, and we're like 10,000. No, the year's like all approaching 2000 since the first civilization formed. It's currently the 1900s, 1948 to be exact. We've successfully avoided World War II. We've successfully avoided World War II when World War II in our timeline took place. Let's be honest, if a next World War was to happen, this would be World War IV for this world, because, yeah, the red team is the only one to blame. I guess that's it. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Go watch another video. I know this one was kind of short, but that is because I am mentally drained from the previous video of the Island Savers thing, which I don't know if I'm turning into a series yet. I probably will turn it into a series, We'll see, though. We'll see. Uh, Next episode for the Civilization Restart series is going to be goated. We're going to have a lot of wars, a lot of rebranding countries, whole lot of chaos, like always. Not as much colonization in that one, but that's okay. With this, like and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed. Go watch another video.